Scorpio, welcome. This is Crow Indigo Intuitive Tarot, and this is your weekly read. It's for Scorpio placement, Sun, Moon, or Rising. It is a general reading. Let's see what we have for you today, Scorpio. The Empress. Devil. Two of Wands. Five of Pentacles. Scorpio. Let's see. You're creating again. You're starting to produce results again with your creativity. You're starting to bring more things into the world that need to be shared. It almost feels a little compulsive, though. You're so creative. And you bring such amazing things into this world to share with others, and yet it controls you in a way. I get this sense that you're happy to be creating again, but it also feels like you've failed. That's weird. Like you were trying to keep yourself from doing it. Or when you couldn't do it, you were starting to discover that you felt a little more balanced and a little more at peace. And now you're back in it. And it's so difficult because everybody loves what you create. This is weird. This is probably a very specific reading for someone. This is an artist, a musician, or an actor. I don't know. It's somebody who gives to others through what they do for work. Could be a chef, could be someone in a restaurant. I just get this strong sense that you're able to see the world differently, and with your creative gifts, you bring such joy to so many people. But when you weren't able to share what you create, you started to feel more calm and more centered in yourself. And you missed working, absolutely, but something about your work feels addictive to you. That it's high highs and low lows, very, very roller coaster kind of experience in your work. Either you're loving it or you are just in despair. It feels like it's a question of external validation. And by that I mean you can't really appreciate what you do, what you create. The only joy you're getting is from others appreciating what you create. And so when you didn't have that, your day-to-day was a little more even keel, a little less of the roller coaster, and you were kind of liking it. But you do feel a strong urge to create. So how do you balance this? I think if you found maybe a professional, a therapist, who could help you with coping mechanisms or behavioral modification, something that would help you deal with that question around needing external validation, then you could have the best of both worlds. You could have this outlet for your creativity and bring joy to so many, but not feel like there's a personal cost in it, which is the sense I'm getting from the energies around these cards today. The Two of Wands really is about looking at your path forward and trying to figure out what you need to have a successful journey. And it feels for me like that's really about finding a way to keep creating without it feeling addictive, without feeling, those sinking moments of despair when something you create isn't universally loved. There's a real Achilles heel here for you, a real point of weakness that is so painful for you, an insecurity almost, and a constant need to keep creating because you need people to love what you create, and then by extension you need people to love you, and you don't think that they will if you don't give them things that make them happy. These are big issues, Scorpio. And this is you in a dance with your shadow side. And maybe it's time to do something constructive to adjust this pattern that you find that sometimes makes you happy and many times doesn't. You feel maybe that others understand already how to do these things and that you're alone in this, but you're not. You're not alone in this. There are many people that struggle with the need for external validation, whether they're artists, actors, chefs, writers, or just, some of the less, quote unquote, less creative professions. Those of us that work in offices or are accountants or pump gas or, bag groceries. Anybody can deal with issues around the question of self-worth, and it feels like that is what this is about. You have the resources that you need. You feel right now like you wouldn't even know where to begin to deal with these issues, but it's not true. If you think about it, you know somebody, or you know someone who happens to know a social worker or a therapist that you could talk with, and you might be surprised how not expensive that process could be. Sometimes insurance will cover part of the cost. Sometimes you'll find somebody, in a less populated area or in a less popular part of town that has a rate that's quite reasonable. It does definitely feel like you don't think you have the resources that you need in order to address this question in your mind and to make a change in a positive direction, but I do want to assure you that you in fact do. So if you look with a different perspective at your connections and your location, you can find the help you need. Even if that help is just talking to someone honestly about how you feel and understanding all of a sudden that they feel that way too, that you aren't alone. I think that could go a long way for you this week, Scorpio. So congratulations on creating again, and I hope that you find a way to feel the joy in that and the joy that you bring to others without the sadness, without the struggle. I think that's what I have. Thanks for sharing this time with me. Thanks for visiting the channel, and I wish you a wonderful week. Blessings.